Me, as far as I be for Ambaland, I not be stranger for any area.
Clear.
Now, very first thing I want to talk.
Clear.
Say, me, FM, I not be stranger for no land.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on Esteemed Television. My name is Augustine Ambe. If you look at this set, you see that I have a glass of wine here. And I have this glass of wine because I am in a celebrative mode. I am celebrating. But before I tell you what I'm celebrating about, I want to just go through a few images that I've collected these days and I've been keeping in my head. I'm planning to do a show with those images, but I haven't done that. So I'm sitting here on a Saturday evening. I was going to go out, but I decided that I don't want to go out. And so I decided I want to do this show because I've been thinking a lot of... Today started very angrily for me. Today started very angrily. I don't think I've ever been angry like that before. Maybe I have been. But you know, sometimes the anger that you have now makes you forget that you've had anger like that before, or even anger that's worse than that. But today I was absolutely very angry. Okay? But before I come and tell you about the anger, which is also, it is after that anger that I'm having this drink, I want to tell you a few things, some images that I've been having. What this gentleman is holding is something that says, "We all must stop the genocide now. Committed on 8 million Ambazonians by the military of the dictator of Cameroon, Paul Biya, and covered up by France and big oil corporations." That's somebody who understands our struggle. You know, our people tend to understand the struggle just as it manifests itself in front of us. Westerners try to go to the root cause. You know, when the Iraq war was going on from the United States, or led by the United States, people in this country used to talk about, oh, they're going to go fight the Arabs because of oil, blah, blah, blah. Me, I was just happy that a dictator was being kicked out of power. And I was happy Saddam Hussein was being kicked out of power, because I watched a video where I think it was like their national convention or something, and he had this list where they were just reading the list, and then people will go to the hall, take somebody and go and kill. They'll call your name, they'll come and pick you up and go and shoot behind, just in the next room. And so I hated that guy, and I hated that guy because he reminded me of the kind of dictatorship that we live in that place called La République du Cameroon. So I hated every dictator. But you know, Americans went on past that. Americans went on past the fact that they were going to remove a dictator based on what the politicians in the United States gave for going to go fight that war. They did not tell you that we're going to go fight because of oil or anything like that. No, they just say, we are going to go kick Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. He shouldn't have invaded Kuwait. That will not stand. So I say, yes, it should not stand. But my American friends were talking about, oh, it's all about oil. It's all about big oil and corporations. And that's what this gentleman is saying. He's going past what we are seeing. We're seeing colonization, we're seeing dictatorship, we're seeing marginalization and some of the treatment we've had. But he goes past and sees why the French and the Western allies that are supporting the French, why they would talk about Ethiopia, why they would talk about all other little problems in Africa, but mention us in passing, because there is some Western interest there which Westerners tend to see, but we tend to ignore and keep blaming each other and fighting against each other. So that's what this gentleman is saying. So when I saw him holding that, I took great note of it, and I kept it at the back of my mind. But I just wanted to mention it here. So today is a very good day for me to mention that. The other thing, I just made some notes here that when he says big oil companies, I was thinking of the British gas companies. You know, Britain put us in this thing, and while Emily is in Parliament screaming, the British government is thinking of some gas company that needs that contract signed in La République du Cameroon. So I also noted gas companies, British gas company, and so on. They so on is because I didn't have time to go. I understand that there's also a Russian company there and some other companies. So they're many. There are many. I just want to let you know that there are many interests that want the status quo in our territory to remain like that. They give no hoot. They don't care about the suffering of the humans who are there. They don't care that there are even humans there. You know, to them we are just like the baboons and the grasshoppers and the birds that fly the sky there. They're just part of the environment. Okay, we are not human beings. So when I was growing up, I used to think that, someday the British will come and help us fight the French. In fact, at that time, I've already read European history and I knew about the wars between the French and the English, the colonial wars, the Waterloos and all that. And like someday the British will come and join us and we'll beat out the French in our country. That was the little ignorant boy in me talking. Later I found out that the British and the French have been more than 100 years into an agreement that is signed that they will never ever fight with each other again. Right now they're allies everywhere they go. In fact, under Tony Blair, there was secretary, I can't remember her name, who said the development of Africa is being held back by the French. So they know what is going on, but you know what? They're allies. They're allies. So they know, and I think, I would like to assume that they ache about what the French are doing in Africa. But they'll rather just stay quiet and let it go because, hey, they belong in the club of the masters of the universe. They belong in the club of the masters of the universe. And so the apartheids can go on until something dramatic happens or something that forces their hand. And so the genocide in Rwanda can go on for 100 days with over 800,000 people killed. And it was so bad that Mitterrand actually said, in places like Africa, genocides don't matter. So in places like Africa, the only thing that matters is the resources. Okay? So what does this mean? It means that Africans need to fight double. They need to fight law. They need to fight discipline. They need to fight policing each other to make sure that nobody's playing another, that nobody has been bought. You know, if you remember South Africa, in South Africa, we used to see how those who were campaigning against apartheid were putting tires in the necks of their own black brothers and burning on the street. And people used to wonder why. So I started finding out the story. And I was told that the reason is because if the apartheid regime comes to recruit you to become a policeman in their force to suppress your own people and you refuse, they'll put a tire on your neck and burn. And so they used to go around and say, and so if they come and you refuse, they say, remember, I don't know a name. You remember, I hate to call a European name or a Western name. I'm looking for a black South African name to call. I don't have one. Okay? But they'll say, you remember him? You know why he died? You know why he had a tire? So if you don't come and join the force, that's what you'll get. And so the South African people who are fighting the apartheid say, okay, we are going to give you the tire if you join the force. So as African people, there needs to be some internal control, some internal mechanism to make sure that we are staying the course, because this is a long fight. And the only people who become free are those that go through that fight. Rwanda is one of the freest countries in Africa today. Rwanda. But Paul Kagame, who ran the campaign to run out the French and the genocides in Rwanda, did that job, and he did that as discipline, and he has remained focused and disciplined as he has brought back his country from that disaster to the number one country in Africa today. If you go to the map of Africa, you have to use a magnifying glass to see Rwanda. But once you see it, you see the people who are determined, who are on a mission. I want to congratulate Paul Kagame and the Rwandese for what they have accomplished in a very, very short time. Another picture that I saw that made me cry is this picture. Now, this is a poor guy, old poor guy, sitting in front of his house. It's not even a calabote house. It's not even a sun-dried bricks house. It's still a house with sticks pinned to the ground, mud. But the guy sits in front of it. It is his house. I wonder why. I don't even know that this guy knows enough of politics to even know about Paul Biya. But it seems to me that that's protection so that his little hut should not be burned down. Is he going to have that wish? Nope. I think it's still standing only because La République, the Franco-Cameroon forces that are causing mayhem in Ambazonia haven't been to that village. So that picture captured my imagination. I'm sure the person who took it to put it out there felt the same as I did. Another picture that I want to share with you is this one with 500 francs. The 500 francs becomes important not only because Thibault Nash mentioned it, but because of what happened to Caroline in Boya, and what happened to Brittany in Bamenda, Tato in Bamenda. So I remember Dr. Kilo, who really pushed that story, talked about that 500 francs is less than $1. Africans are losing their lives for that. African babies are losing their lives for that. So I kind of saved that one. That's one of the pictures that I looked this week, and I thought, my God, what has God creation come down to? Because let nobody ever lie to you that you are not a human being and you are less than any. In fact, we are better than many, which is why they have depended not only on African wealth, but on Africans to build the world. To build the world. When I say the world, I'm not kidding. You know, when I first came to the United States, and they were saying that, oh, black people build this country, and I was thinking, get out of here. Get out of here. Until I watched a documentary which chronographed the industrial development of this country and the use of slaves to develop that. And then it became very clear to me. In fact, it was in England that my sister used to tell me, oh, now we build this country. Now black people build this country. And I just kept saying the same thing. But it took me years after living in the United States to come to believe that, to come to understand what they mean by that. So we are better than a lot of human beings. We are better. And that's why the world has been built on our backs. It is time now for us to build our own world. Another picture that caught my attention, not necessarily this week, I think in the past 2 weeks. In fact, it caught my attention when there was that CDN retreat going on in Toronto. That's when I first saw that video. It was video of Agbobala. Here's the video.
I am not prescribing any particular form of a state. But we cannot live here without looking at the form of the state. As I sit here, if I show you my messages from some of the separatist leaders abroad, have they started talking even about the form of the state? Some of us have put our reputation and our image on the line to be here. If you follow social media, they attack some of us just for coming here. But we believe in the oneness and the unity of this country. We believe that Cameroon should be one. We believe that Cameroon should be one and indivisible. But we equally believe that decentralization would not solve the problem. We have to get to a federation. That is the minimum the people who have taken up arms would accept. If we don't, Mr. Minister, if we don't address those issues, Mr. Minister, if we don't address those issues, I am afraid, I see my senator from Boya seated by you, and I think he knows this also. I'm afraid that we would leave here.
You as a lawyer, what makes you say British Southern Cameroons that lawyers have challenged, including you, Agwobala, because I've seen the pictures. You, Agwobala, was standing there when they were saying, show me the Act of Union. And that's what started this war. Now you're saying we are that. What is he saying? I want to quote him. I don't want to make a mistake. We believe in the oneness and the unity of this country. We believe that Cameroon should be one and indivisible. Really, my brother. So all these law degrees that you have don't make you believe in any process. Don't make you believe in legality. Don't make you believe in evidence. Are you... Look, I do understand people double speaking when they're in the belly of the beast. When they're in the belly of the beast, I can understand that. Because the first instinct is that of survival. So you need to survive in that system first. But when you start crossing the line and making statements like this, it seems to me that it's not about survival, it's about lying to yourself, to the Ambazonians, and to La République du Cameroun. But I can tell you one thing, La République du Cameroun doesn't believe in you. They will allow you to say that, and they know that you're scared of them because that's what they want all Ambazonians to be. They want to intimidate everybody so that they play the mafia boss in that plantation. But my brother, look, you can just stay quiet. There are many Ambazonians who know that they have to live in that system, they have to make a living in that system, they have to be employed in that system. In fact, they have to be employed to even be compromising their own people. But they don't go out saying, we believe in the oneness and the unity of this country. We believe that Cameroon should be one and indivisible. We need to find a lasting solution. We equally believe that decentralization will not solve the problem. You see, you're getting very confused, my brother. In the Francophone world, even decentralization is doing too much. In France itself, France is ruled from Paris by the Jacobins. Okay? There's no federation in France. So I don't know why you talk about a federation in a colony. It's a federation that we tried before and it failed. How many times do you want us to try federation with the same people? Not only the same people in the sense of Francophones, but the same dictators. Paul Biya has been in that seat for 40 years. Before that, he was there. When we were having that federation, Paul Biya was there. So when you say that, I don't know who you're trying to impress, but you're not impressing anybody. Because they look at you and laugh. the French have survived as colonial masters right into the 21st century in Africa because they know the system, they know how to play it, they don't trust anybody. They have to manage it themselves. And when they cannot manage it, one of the things they do is they throw tantrums. And when they throw the tantrums, the West learns to, the rest of the West has learned to manage French tantrums. I can tell you a little story. The decolonization of Africa came because of Franklin Roosevelt. And it was declared in the Atlantic Charter of 1941. Okay? FDR said, colonies must go. Charles de Gaulle said, if we let our colonies go, we'll be nothing in the world. France cannot be France without grandeur. And without our colonies, there can be no grandeur for France. So he said no. The British and the Americans decided that they would fight the French out of Africa. Okay? So they went down and they actually attacked the French in Senegal. They had a governor in Senegal who fought back. And this is when the Second World War was still going on. The British and the Americans decided, do they need the French out of Africa or do they need to go and defeat Nazi Germany? And they chose to go and fight Nazi Germany and allow the French in Africa. We have done a show on this channel where we show that Charles de Gaulle, after the war ended, and after Franklin Roosevelt had died and Truman was in the White House, came and met with Truman, and they agreed that the French should remain in Africa. America decided at that point that it was more expedient for the French to maintain their colonies in Africa, and that's why they're still in Africa today, unchallenged. Why did the Americans do that? I'll tell you why. At the time, communism had become the threat. It was growing very fast in Italy. It was growing very fast in France. And the Americans looked at it and said, communism is a bigger danger. And at the time, it was growing in these countries because after the war, Europe was very poor. And so Americans decided that it's more expedient to let the French stay in Africa. In fact, they just did not do that. They also decided that they're not going to compete with Europeans in Africa. And that's why it took you a long time to see a Ford vehicle or a Chevrolet. There's still a lot of American cars that you don't see in Africa. It's because Americans said, you know what, that's your backyard. Use it to help yourself. And they've been helping themselves in that backyard till today. So this leaves the burden of getting the French out of Africa in the hands of Africans, which is why when the Nigerians are supporting the French all over the place and allowing them to come and make devilish deals with them to prevent Africans from freeing themselves in Ambazonia from colonial grips, it just makes me sad. Because I can tell you, just talking to Africans while in the United States, they do not believe that there's a thing called cooperation agreements that these francophone countries that go around pretending that they're independent sign with France and that France own all their minerals unless they don't want them. Of course, the other terms of that cooperation agreement, they apply. It's amazing how the French ambassador in La République du Cameroon pulled that and reminded us in a tweet about the cooperation and the agreements of defending that colony. So everything the Ambazonians are doing, they should know that they are fighting France. You are not fighting Paul Biya. That's why for 2 years now, he hasn't said a word. The B that you so-called B, those are all French troops. All French troops trained. If you want to know how much the French have control of or how French troops, the troops in Africa are, you know, Gbagbo planned a war in Ivory Coast. That war came to a head around 2011, 2010. You know about that war. The generals that Gbagbo was counting on, the French picked up a phone and called and said, "You stop." They obeyed. And Gbagbo found himself with no generals. So he thought the army of the Ivory Coast was his army. No, the French came and showed him that, nope, it's not your army, it is our army. We trained them. We coached them. We made promises with them, and they know who to obey, and they obeyed. And so Gbagbo was carried to jail. Was carried to The Hague. You know, I saw a very pitiful picture of Gbagbo standing there with Ouattara, bound down to Ouattara. I felt so sorry for that man, because that's how they break every African who tries to fight them. Ambazonians say that they will not be broken. Ambazonians are saying they will not be broken, and I can tell you something. France lost the war to Kagame. Kagame was an Anglophone that was supported by Uganda. France is looking at us, we are Anglophones. And they are looking at Nigeria, and they know that if Nigeria supports us, they will lose that war and maybe lose La République du Cameroon. And so they are doing all they can to make sure we have no help, no access to Nigeria. But I think they will lose. I think they will lose, because the Nigerians will need to do better. And it doesn't really matter. Ambazonians know their job, and Ambazonians can free themselves. Only if they do certain things. Which brings me to why I was so angry today. Watch this video.
As you can see, this is the population of Bui. They are saying no to Nopity. They say that Nopity should go back because they have been in peace for a very long time, and they don't want anything that can cause any harm to these people. So people are asking Nopity to please go back to where he came from, because they don't want that Kumu should be corrupted. These people that you are seeing here, billions of people, thousands of people that are standing here, they are really saying that they don't want any problem from anywhere. And they say that Nopity should go back and rule his country. So Nopity should go back and be on his own, and let Bui be on his own. Please, Nopity, they want you to go back. People are very, very angry about this.
So that's the video that I watched, and I'm, you know, I'm somebody who has been very optimistic about our abilities. A lot of people have written about our abilities. Dieudonné Essomba has written that there's a huge diaspora, that what La République, what the French did to the Bassas and the Bamilekes, they cannot do to Anglophones, not only because Anglophones, so-called Anglophones, not only because the so-called Anglophones are 20% of the population, which is huge, but they have a huge diaspora which will support them, and therefore La République du Cameroon will never beat them, and as time has passed, they will lose. So give them federation right now before they are gone, which is Essomba not still trying to limit his thinking that, oh, you know, look, Mr. Essomba, you're doing really well analyzing for La République, but you need to go past that block that you're blocking your mind. Ambazonians are gone. So that's what makes Esomba writes. Another person who has been writing very confidently that La République will lose Ambazonia is Thibonage. Thibonage says Cameroon government's current policies will actually speed creation of Ambazonia. Pacification means bringing peace, not scorched earth. Military approach only creates more secessionists. Past presidents prove bullets delay, not kill the people's will. You know, when we read this, we are very confident that yes, what we are doing is believed by people who know. But these people can only be right if we do things the way they are expecting us to do. If the diaspora is supporting and the ground forces are fighting. Okay? The French are counting on the diaspora not supporting, being distracted, forgetting about their brothers and sisters in the territory, and believe that they can divide and rule on the ground. And they are doing it. When you watch that video, you heard what they were saying. And this is when I read it, I want to tell you, because when I'm angry, I don't keep it to myself, I get it out. So I wrote, this is a stupid and a counterproductive move organized from America, which if we don't counter and stop, it will be disastrous. We cannot divide our people even before La République and France divide and conquer us. We are fighting a national liberation war, not a tribal war. My only hope to put the diaspora and the territory back, focusing on the right things, is form another organization that does that. Because I hate to call the names of those pigs, because they have destroyed our struggle. They have destroyed the unity that in the first year or first few months was working. It was so threatening to La République that they had to go into Nigeria and capture our leaders. But this new organization needs to move faster with organizing and giving our people options to take back their revolution from these pigs. What are we doing? Diplomacy and education are some of the things that we need, but we need something immediate. We need something that is solving the problems for now. We should be able to intervene and stop what is happening in Bui. We need a presence on the ground, even if it's just one person with a fistful of dollars, talking to the boys and making them think correctly. This is what Thibonage and etc. think is going on when they say what they say about us. But it's not true. It's not true because in Bui, they're telling Nopity to go away. Go away to where? Go away to where? We are fighting an enemy who is attacking a country. It's not a tribal war. Nopity is a citizen of Ambazonia. He should be free to go to Ambazonia, anywhere in the Ambazonian land. We have jobless pastors screwing things up for us from the United States. That was the response. I was so angry. I didn't eat. And then somebody, I think hours later, sent me a video. Here's the video.
Yes. Today, the 20th November 2021, we meet FM Nopity, the father of Marine Force of Ambaland. I come on for cry for the people of Ambaland, both home and abroad. say the problem where they go on for boy. No be my problem me one. Like when I see now the general this for boy and the commander say like when I see because I see things for social media they say no pity do this and that. I want make it today very clear. Me una know say no my problem me one. Yes, like when I don't see the video where Isobu if you come from my place where I be there, he can take 3 of my picking them, now knock them. So today they go to hospital. Just like he be doing for General Viper and others. Shoot soldier them. I come out, I talk for the Viper, I talk for Viper. Say, now what this way don't happen. But me, I want to follow you, go ask you why he can do this thing, brutalize my soldiers. I come out for the following day, I enter for Kikaikon. I go to each of gala. I call this here, I come, each of gala. Tell me, say, me, na me, I come for front. Me, no, say, I come, na peace. We come out, I did for front to go. They start chop na gala. How will see we they start run? I come out, I call this me come, he come out, they come out with soldier them. They fire and fire for our skin. How will we come out the go? We come out go enter for town, for Kumbo town. From there. We talk for them for civilians and say now what this will happen. He still enter again for squares, he attack we for the we come out. But I want to when I say the attack me not my main problem. My main problem. We dey. I say ye the Isobu, he the work at this Ambarak them for boy. For wartime. I say me military they can't enter. Key the fighter them. Oh na wait. Oh me military worker key na civilians them. Oh na wait. Una wait it happen. He the Isobu he call me a stranger. If he say he get a place for Ambaland. But I want make it very clear. Me any man. No say me as far as I be for Ambaland, I not be stranger for any area.
Clear.
Now very first thing I want to talk.
Clear.
Say me FM, I not be stranger for no land. Like when I visit na Baso Brandis, but he want to call me a stranger.
That was Nopity talking like the man, the leader, the patriot that he is. When I listened to him, I kicked back and I relaxed again. Because all I was saying, we should contribute money and have somebody to go and talk to those boys was to get them to understand what Nopity came and said word for word. And I relaxed and I said, you know, maybe Thibaut Nash knows that people like those enablers in Bui who are telling Nopity to leave the territory. Thibaut Nash knows that people like that do exist, but they won't succeed. I just learned that today and I'm very happy. Today, 20th November 2021, we me Nopity of Marine Force of Bambalang. No. I'm repeating what is in my head, not what Nopity said. I want to repeat what Nopity said. Today, 20th November 2021, we me Nopity of Marine Force of Ambaland. I come out for cry. Well, you all heard what he said. But he said he's not a stranger in that land. And as long as he's in Ambazonia, he cannot be a stranger and he will never be a stranger. Now, this is not the show where I wanted to discuss Nopity. But I just wanted to celebrate with that brother, with that patriot, that we have been looking for a leader for our struggle. He came along. Now, you have to realize that after Bami Singh, he has motivated all the other generals. And you can see that every encounter with La République du Cameroon has been voracious, has been a la Nopity. That's all I can say. Thank you, Nopity. And thank you for your leadership. And thank you for everything you're doing. You've given us our respect. You represent the Ambazonian spirit that I always knew it was there. How do I know that? I knew that Foncha took the people of Ambazonia against the British, and the people of Ambazonia did not fail him. Frundi came and took the people of Ambazonia to challenge the brutal, bloodthirsty Franco-Cameroon empire within the boundaries of La République. The people of Ambazonia did not fail him. He failed them. He failed them. When the teachers and the lawyers stood up, you can hear Wiba swearing in parliament that if La République brings their troops and the French troops combined, they will not beat the people of Ambazonia. So he believed in the people of Ambazonia the same as I did. There have been other people who have spoken after that, and they are all believing in the human spirit of the Ambazonian people, that they will win this war. Because why? They are human beings, and until we bend our backs, nobody will ride on it. So thank you, for Nopity, for representing that spirit, and inspiring that spirit that we know all of us have. I'm going to, like I said, this was not a show to talk about Nopity. I just wanted to recap today because I am going to bed today a happy man. I started this morning really sad. I don't want to go into what Nopity and the rest did, but they put my heart to rest. And I think that in order to move these people, these are our patriots faster, these are fighters faster, the diaspora needs to go back to what we're doing. I think a few months or a year before Sako and the thieves came and hijacked the revolution and ended up dividing our people, discouraging our people, we need to go back. Look, I have nothing against Sako, the man. I have nothing personal. I usually tell people who have drank the Kool-Aid of this fake pastor that when you think Ambazonia, you don't make mistakes. I was one of the first to support Sako. I was the first. Ask him. We've had conversations. But when I saw the man took the wrong turn and looked behind and kept going, I looked at him and I said, no, that's the road to Ambazonia. I'm going to read something that I wrote to a brother who I think also missed his way, according to me, and I wrote that to him to let him know that you missed your way. Please, you're very smart. I know you're very smart. I'm not even doubting it. But shake yourself up so that you can stay on the journey that on the Ambazonian track. Don't be derailed. I want to read that to you. And I'm sorry that it may make this piece longer than I wanted it to be, but I think that this is a moment that we can share this kind of this is a moment to share it, and I don't think he'll be angry. I'm not going to call his name though, because I love him. I love him because he's a big supporter of Ambazonia. he works really hard for the cause, but just led by the wrong person. I'm going to skip the name, and I say, I think you should take a step back and think Ambazonia. Think Ambazonia, pa. Try just for a moment and stop spreading tales that are not true. What tales was this brother spreading? What he was just taking and passing on. The tale is that Sako is going around saying that he controls 80% of the fighters on the ground. It is a lie. And if you see what is happening in Bamising, that is what this idiot does. He thinks he's a lazy man, doesn't want to go and get a job, and he thinks that he can go and rule Ambazonia. Ambazonia is made of very hard-working people, very smart people. He's an idiot going around with a fake degree, a degree that he paid $100, and they gave it to him. And in that degree, they wrote to him that this thing is not, you cannot get a job with this. And he goes around calling himself a doctor. He should be ashamed of himself. So he goes around saying he controls 80% of the fighting forces on the ground. But I clarify that to my brother here. I say one of the things that I have done lately is take some time off and get to understand the situation with our fighters on the ground. What has gotten really clear to me is how dynamic they are. The guys, these fighters on the ground are very dynamic. And if what Nopity did is any example, you can see how dynamic they are. I say first, they are funded from multiple sources. The Ambazonian fighters, there's no single source that funds them. In fact, just listening to the tapes, or listen to the tapes that came out on this Nopity thing, some of the commanders were saying how all the businesses and some of the organizations, they pay to them. So these boys don't depend on some fool in the diaspora. In fact, while they think they own those boys actually think they own them. Second, they have more funding on a consistent basis from ground zero, not from the diaspora. Okay? If some of you heard when Nambere was crying about the disappointments left and right, you cannot depend on the diaspora to support you. We need to correct that. I am sure the diaspora has the ability to correct that. The diaspora cannot allow an illiterate, it's not because it's not just one. The other loudmouth is Chris Anu. There are many of them. We cannot allow those people to come and hijack our revolution, and they are very educated, very talented, very big patriots sitting back and just watching them ruin the revolution. I know we can do better. Third, most of the large operations like the attack by Nopity in Bamising are funded by individuals in or outside of ground zero, not some organization in the diaspora. Definitely not the so-called IG. No. The IG doesn't do big things like that. Okay? What they do is they send $1. I'm sure they send more than $1. But they send peanuts to convince an individual to cause trouble or to go and murder somebody. That's what they do. They cannot fund operations. They can't. Nambere told us that. They promised him all kinds of things. Nothing came. It's not me saying it. People who are homeless, they are so homeless, and everybody knows that sometimes when they're raising funds, you go there, you see how people come and they have a president's basket. A president who is living in the United States, he has a basket where people come and put money for him. Are we in a church? Come on. Most of what I've been told when fighters are forced to reference your so-called IG is said to protect themselves from paid assassins sent by them. Okay? So some of the people on ground zero, especially, this last lockdown that went for I don't know how many days, I think it was 2 weeks or something like that. I heard a lot of people from ground zero crying because people could not keep their medical appointments. And why do they obey? Because if they don't obey, there are thugs that this man can send $2 and they go and kill somebody. And so he uses that and sit hiding in America, begging left and right, being jobless, looking like an idiot, saying that he controls 80% of the fighters on the ground. No, I think one of the things that some of the fighters said today very clearly is that they did not leave their homes to go and fight each other. They left their homes to go and fight La Republic. Most of what I've been told when fighters are forced to reference your so-called IG is said to protect themselves from paid assassins sent by your so-called IG. Very smart. The people on the ground are smart doing that. What are you going to do? I mean, the place is hell right now. Killing somebody is easy, so protect yourself. Protect your family. Stay home if you can. You're doing really well doing that. I also understood obeying IG impositions of lockdowns, unreasonable lockdowns, is from fear of assassination by a group that has proven time and time again that they can do it with impunity. So I've mostly ignored these things you publish, but sometimes it's just too much for me to ignore. I guess if you are a member of the Blue Army, or is it White Army, there is nothing anyone can do to stop you. But my brother, this is the fight of our lives. The last fight which we must win. If we fail, our population will be replaced with strangers in our land, either through mass murder, or as it's being tested now, or forced out completely. Think. That's what I told him. I was one of the first to support your man Sako, which explains why I was one of the first to jump off his pirate ship, which I discovered he had hijacked the struggle. Some of you are still on board. To where? Do as you please. I'm not trying to get you off. I just want you to stop pushing lies around our people. You will be surprised when it comes time and you find out that your king is actually naked. How stupid do you think the people of Ambazonia are? No, the people of Ambazonia are not. They're not stupid. So, but they know how to survive, and they're surviving. I just mentioned what they call Blue and White Army. Sako organized this scheme where he has a whole team, and their job is just to go out and attack anybody on social media who says anything against Sako. And before these people came and revealed themselves, and they revealed themselves because they were disgusted. Because in the final analysis, all Ambazonians want Ambazonia free. And so these people got disgusted. And they came out and they told the story. So they had a Blue and White Army. Their job, they were being paid. Their job is watching the net. If somebody comes and says anything negative about Sako, they poured on him, pound on him until he ran. That's what they call Blue and White Army. That's what I mentioned here. But I just want to let you know that I'm sleeping today feeling good. My brother here, he's a brother. I love this guy. Like I said, he's a huge patriot, and I hope my communicating with him sincerely has an impact. I'm reading it loud so that it should also have an impact to other people who are still in this hijacked ship, heading the wrong direction, benefiting one person. We all need to shake ourselves. We're very smart. We're smart in the territory. We're smart abroad. It did not take dumbness to be where we are today. It did not take dumbness for the ground to be where it is today. And so we need to respect each other. I think one thing for sure that the ground is demonstrating is that the diaspora just needs to support the ground with finances and maybe something else, but they cannot control. The leadership of the struggle needs to be on the ground, and it needs to, and the ground needs to do its own strategies. There are specific things that the West, that people in the diaspora provides to help the ground with. But that's the only thing we do. We're helping them. It is their struggle. They are living in it. They understand it better than any of us can ever do. And so we should defer to them and let them lead us, and we will win. Nobody could have planned Nopity's attack in Bamising. Nobody could have told the boys in Santa last week to go do the things they do. Plan it for them. No, we left the place when you saw a gendarme, you saw terror. When you saw somebody in military, you saw terror. Our boys have overcome that. They know them now. They've taught all of us that these are very poorly trained people, because the French doesn't want to train good armies in Africa because they know they would rise up against them someday. In fact, Cameroon military is limited. They cannot have enough troops to provide security in the whole land. And so what they use is fear. And once you've overcome that fear, you find them flat-footed. I really came here to say I'm going to sleep well tonight. But the day started very rough for me. And I want to thank Nopity for coming out with that video. It looks like he knew that there was a brother somewhere suffering and needed to know that nothing is going to happen to Nopity, and Nopity is going nowhere, and they are not going to let paid agents of SACO to sabotage them. You need to know. There's another video. There's another clip that I want to read here, but I will not read. What happened was that when SACO did not go to the retreat in Toronto, he wrote that, anybody will need to come and talk to me first before anything happens on the ground. And so these are the efforts that he's trying. And I heard that he called Nopity and wanted Nopity to go and talk on his behalf then, but Nopity said, no, I'm not going to do that. Then he called him again and says, swear allegiance to me. Nopity told him, my allegiance is to the flag. So he sent this, what's this gentleman's name? Isobu? I think that's the name. He sent Osubu to go and hurt Nopity. He went, Nopity was there. He captured Nopity's three soldiers. I'm going to tell the story when I really want to address that, because this story is one that needs to be told accurate, not only to educate our people, but also as a record, because this war is going to end, and people who are standing in the way of our success will need to account for why they did the things they did. Okay? The pigs and their collaborators can be in Washington and think that they are free and that nobody can do anything. In fact, I hear he's already said he's going to remain him in America. So the people working for him and doing all his dirty work, I can just tell you that he's already taken care of himself. But we are all fighting to free our people. We are fighting to free our people because, look, I don't know how that does to your own humanity. We are human beings and we need to be treated as human beings. Our families need to be treated as human beings. Our country people, the Bafu people, the Meta people, put all our tribes together, you will say, we need to free Ambazonia. We need to free our people. It's a challenge to our humanity. It's a challenge to our abilities. It's a challenge to our own book. It's a challenge to our own physical strength. We have to defend our land. We own our humanity, and nobody has a right to leave either Bululand or to leave France to come and tell the people in Ambazonia how to live, or that they own them and they can tell them what they should be doing with their lives. That's the challenge for us. It's not even a challenge of anything else, but it's a challenge of our humanity. You know, sometimes I think if we were living today and slave ships were packed and they come and carry some of our people and tie their necks, put chains in their neck and put in the ship and go, what will we do? Are we just going to sit back and say what? Because I'm sure there are many people who sat looking and then their day came and they were also chained. We as Africans need you know what? I'm going to end here. I'm going to do another piece on Nopity, and it'll be a fun piece because it's a heroic story.